Happening right now, suspected Tucson shooter Jared Loughner preparing for a court hearing this morning in Tucson. For the past few months, he's been at a prison facility in Missouri with medical professionals there trying to get him mentally fit to stand trial. If the judge decides that Loughner is competent today, that trial will move forward. Meanwhile, Kirk is following some breaking news for us, and a judge could actually rule one of two ways in all of this. Yeah,
we're following more on the situation with Jared Loughner. The judge could decide that he's not mentally competent to stand trial. If that happens, Loughner could go back with mental health experts for another 8 months as they continue their efforts to get him ready for trial. Joining me on the phone is Kurt Altman, a local criminal defense attorney and former federal and county prosecutor. Kurt, as an expert on this entire process, we know it's very convoluted. What goes into determining someone's competency to stand trial? What's the litmus test here?
Well, the litmus test really, Kirk, is whether Mr. Loughner understands the proceedings against him, if he understands what's going on around him, and the big thing I think in this case is if he has the ability to help his lawyers defend himself.
And Kurt, how long could this go on? I mean, we remember back to, for example, Brian David Mitchell in the Elizabeth Smart case, and the efforts to get him competent to stand trial took years. Could that happen here?
Well, it could. You know, years is unusual, but this is a significantly important case to the government, and it's not your typical case, so it could be years. Typically, that restoration proceeding will take place within a year of his commitment for competency restoration.
And as someone who's been involved in so many cases similar to this, what do you expect? I mean, what do you think's next for this? Do you think that he will eventually be deemed competent to stand trial and this will move forward soon?
Well, it's hard to say if he'll ever be deemed competent, but I can guarantee you that they're going to make every effort to make him competent and move this forward to bring justice, what they believe is justice for the victims.
And if they don't, what happens then? I mean, he basically spends the rest of his life in a mental institution?
That's a very, very real possibility. If ultimately a court finds there is no way that Mr. Loughner can be restored to competency, the case could likely be dismissed, but that doesn't mean he gets out. You're exactly right. He would probably spend, because he's such a danger to himself and the community, the rest of his life in a mental facility.
Criminal defense attorney Kurt Altman with some insight onto today's proceedings. Thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate that. We do want to let you know we'll have a crew in Tucson covering the hearing, and you can count on live updates throughout the day on ABC 15 and ABC15.com.